Thank you, Commissioner, for accepting this interview. I would like to start with the name issue. There is not a real political cost for the Greece intransigence on the name issue. But in Republic of Macedonia, the story is different. Macedonia could risk its further development, even its stability. Is the EU able to do something to change this imbalance?
Well, as you know, this is an issue for many, many years. And I think what we have done as European Union is to facilitate bilateral talks between the two, but without us. And this is very important. So it's important that colleagues from Skopje and Athens are sitting together, building confidence, working on solutions. I understand there is a good relationship between the two foreign ministers, recently also between the two prime ministers. There is now a new engagement by the UN Special Envoy Nimitz. So I'm very optimistic that they can resolve this issue, but important they do it on their own, because this is finally something which is the most relevant thing in terms to have a lasting, sustainable solution of this issue.
Now thousands of people gathered in Athens for a protest Sunday. Is Greece able to make a compromise with Republic of Macedonia without provoking a huge internal political earthquake?
Well, I think indeed it's a challenge, but I'm reassured by the Greek Prime Minister. I met him the other week in Davos. We talked to each other, and he's very dedicated, together with his foreign minister, to find a solution. And I don't want to see anything more at the current stage of discussions, not to provoke anything. It's important that they are sitting together, they are working, they are showing responsibility.
Now the protesters' demand on Sunday was that the compromise does not contain the term Macedonia. What do you think about that?
Once again, at the current stage of negotiations, I don't want to make any comments. Let it to the negotiators to find a solution. I'm confident they are able to do so.
Now a few words on your strategy on the Western Balkans. What this strategy means for Macedonia?
Well, first and foremost, it's a strategy which is addressing all the countries in the region, giving all of them a European perspective. I think this is important because finally also each country benefits from the fact that all the others at a certain moment, the one sooner, the other later, are able to join the Union, because it's a single market, opportunities, protection in a good way, to be part of a bigger family. So this should be clearly, so to say, the aim. And this is now precisely expressed in this strategy. For Skopje, I think it's important to understand that there is now a strong commitment which will also, I suppose, confirmed in the summit in Sofia in May 2018, and part of the strategy will also be a kind of roadmap for the next 3 years, 2018, 19 and 20, in 6 different areas where we all together have proposed 57 concrete projects in the area of economic development, rule of law, digitalization, etc., people to people, in order to make concrete steps forward to speed up, provided there is the necessary political will in a country, the whole process. And this, of course, also applies for Skopje.
Commissioner, is it possible to have a successful EU integration for the Western Balkans without Macedonia starting accession talks in June?
I cannot predict, so to say, decisions of our member states. Most likely we can conclude as a Commission our internal assessment, and our intention is to come forward with a recommendation to start negotiations. But this is, so to say, the part of the Commission. Finally, member states have to decide, have to make their own choice, their own assessment, and this is part of our rules and our procedures.
Concerning the reforms in Macedonia, citizens think that these reforms are very slow. So this raises dissatisfaction in the country. What do you think of the effectiveness of these reforms in Macedonia? What would Mr. Pribe say on that?
Well, we are in constant contact with Mr. Pribe, and of course I understand the impatience of citizens. I am also impatient, and I hope that also the politicians in Skopje are impatient. But of course it's democracy, and democracy means you have to get the majority. You have to strike compromises, but good compromises are compromises where everybody gives a little bit in to get finally more. Expectation management is one of the key words, but I think the government is dedicated. The government gets all the support by the European family, and I hope this will be off very soon. I understand a lot of decisions have already been taken, more are needed, and when it comes to the, so to say, national goal of European perspective, I would suppose that also the opposition is contributing in a constructive manner to this final goal. Doesn't mean to accept each and everything, but to participate in a constructive manner. But this also demands that the government is involving, including the opposition in all the different measures, but it should be seen as a national goal. It's a national goal because everybody, every party has already confirmed its support to the European integration. So therefore, I expect on this issue a broad national consensus.
Commissioner, you met the delegation of novatv.mk last week in Brussels. What was your message to the opposition party? Did they convince you of the positiveness of their action?
Well, indeed, it was my message. It is my message to everybody with whom I speak in Skopje to contribute and to participate in this rally towards European accession. Of course, that's why I said it takes two for a tango, and that means opposition and government have to work together in a constructive manner. That means if the government is making proposals, it should give opposition time to look into this proposal, but on the other hand, the opposition should work and contribute in a constructive manner and spirit. So this is the ideal concept of following a national goal.
Is the government sufficiently dedicated to reach its hand to the opposition?
This is what I am always reassured. I am reassured by the government to do so. I am reassured by the opposition to be constructive. So I hope I have not heard lip services, but really concrete, so to say, announcements which materialize themselves.
The opposition in Macedonia says that the economy in the country is sinking. Do you share this opinion?
Well, of course, the country has definitely suffered from this unclear political situation for some years. This has, of course, led that some investors have put their decisions on hold or have decided to do it somewhere else, probably in the region. And now it's upon regaining confidence. This is not something you can achieve from one day to the other, but I think if we can, so to say, make the next step in European integration, starting ideally negotiations, this will definitely trigger, like we could see it in Serbia, an investment boom. You have skilled labor workforce in the country. I have been reassured several times by European companies that the quality of people in the country is an excellent one. On the other hand, we have to avoid any further brain drain, which we are facing still today. So this is why we need high qualified jobs in the country. This is achievable. Once again, there must be, so to say, a common understanding amongst all what is the European perspective, and that everybody has to contribute. It doesn't mean that one side should give up on anything, but one has to see what is the vision and how everybody can contribute and find himself on this avenue.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.